Our next speaker is Susan Griffin of Brain Juicer. I'm sure you all know Brain Juicer. Well, once upon a time, Brain Juicer was not a very well-known company, and Susan had a lot to do with it. They continuously are among the considered the most innovative market research companies in the Grit Report, and they've grown tremendously, and it's under Susan's leadership. So she's going to share some lessons with you about how she made Brain Juicer famous.
So, and thank you very much for staying, for being here. I'm the only thing standing between you and lunch, so I've got a big responsibility. In the interest of knowing your audience, how many folks here are with a full-service market research agency? Okay. And how many folks here have less than 5 years in the business? Okay. So the notion that I have anything that I can share with you that's going to be helpful is kind of humbling. Let's see. Yeah, so again, the notion that I can tell anybody anything that can help with your marketing. Not working? It is working. Okay, great. Is terrific. And when Dana asked me here, I thought, okay, there's going to be sodium pentothal involved because you guys are going to want to know secrets. And actually, there isn't any secrets. We've heard a lot this morning about inspiration. We talked about transcendence. And I just decided that I'd give you some pragmatic stuff, maybe things that will make you smile, maybe things that will resonate, and just give you a sense of how we try to make Brain Juicer famous in the world. So here's my top 10. The first one is really, know what you stand for and dare to be different. Now, it's really easy for me because we've got a hugely charismatic founder, leader, who continues to run the business, who's pretty iconoclastic about a lot of things. We've set out to change the world of market research, which is pretty ambitious. So I have the luxury of having a very differentiated brand to start with, but you all should figure out at least how you can make yourself stand out. We heard that already this morning. And the second thing is we like to follow the 60-40 rule. So approximately 60% of the effort within my marketing team is spent on literally brand building fame for Brain Juicer that can have a long-term return on investment. And about 40% of what we do is aimed at the activations, the things that will make a client reach into us and say, we'd really like to talk to you about a project that we have in mind. So it's about 60% fame and 40% activation. If you want some proof points as to why this works, there's a study actually by the Institute for Professionals in Advertising. It was written by Les Bonet and Peter Fields, and it's called The Long and the Short of It. It relates to advertising effectiveness, but I think equally it relates to our own marketing effectiveness within the research industry. And when I talk about fame, I love this picture because it's not flash in the pan fame. It's not, flavor of the month. It's not, ooh, cool, new thing. There's a lot of technology that falls into this category, but it's the notion of fame within the industry that's game-changing, that will be talked about literally for decades, that can really change an industry in the way that the King changed music. So the third thing that I like to think about is avoid the scary, generic look-alike branding. These are the twins from The Shining, the ghosts that come back. And we all know it, we've seen it. It's that branding that you don't know who the company is, but it's that generic, it's the stuff that doesn't do your brand justice. So when you talk about differentiating your brand, you really need something that's going to be memorable. I like to use, this is a company in the UK called Truth. They are a smaller agency. They've won a number of awards for their work, and they really try to make a memorable first impression. And that's one of the things that I would encourage you all to try to do. The next is to cultivate brand ambassadors within your company. I spoke this morning a little bit about the notion that good researchers don't have the mutant gene. You know, Susan talked about there's folks who aren't great presenters. They may be good researchers, but they may not be great commanding a room. Just this morning, I got a call, or I got an email from one of our most cerebral researchers. He's in our labs group, which is where we incubate new methodologies. And he is the shyest man on the planet. And he sent me a note to tell me that he had taken one of the blog posts that we had done recently, and he'd sent it to a former colleague who's now at a very, very large beverage brand. And lo and behold, it resonated, and that prospect said, you know what, I ought to be talking with you guys about how we could work together. Now this guy has no biz dev responsibilities. I wouldn't send him on a biz dev assignment because it would be suicide for him. But he's a brand ambassador, and he knows that he can speak well and with confidence about what we do. So encourage your brand ambassadors. Now the next thing is beware of the pay-to-play path to speaking. I mentioned earlier that we don't exhibit. We also don't do any sponsorships. If it's a speaking engagement that requires you to write a check, we don't do it. We're religious about submitting for calls for speakers for conferences, and we speak all over because our thought leaders, our execs, arguably have something important to say. But if you're going to be paying to play, if you're going to be paying to be speaking, any of the clients who attend those conferences know it. There are lots of conferences that are not pay to play, and IIEX has really done a tremendous job globally with conferences that they have run. And it pays because clients are hearing about it, and more clients are coming to those events. But you don't pay to play. You submit an idea, and if it's worthy, you'll get asked to speak. The other thing that helps you in terms of that speaking or that presence or making your brand known around the world is getting involved and doing the hard yards. I remember before I worked for Grain Juicer, I worked for a panel company, and the founder of the company said, the best thing that you can do is to insinuate yourself into the fabric of market research. Go volunteer. It's the best way that you can promote your brand, and it's the best way that you can become a brand ambassador for your company. And I listened, and throughout the course of my career, I have volunteered, I've done lots of things to become involved, and I know that there are lots of you in the audience who do this. Niels has done this a lot. It's the non-commissionable transaction, okay? It's getting involved, taking a back seat, and just doing some hard job that the association would otherwise not have anybody, certainly on staff, that could do. And gradually, I have become more well-known in the industry than I thought I would ever be. So that's something that I would urge you to do. Okay. If you're going to exhibit, and this is just me now, all right? People are laughing. Avoid the swagger. We have our stress balls. They're in the shape of brains. They're red. But we learned early on that that's not how we want clients to remember us. If you're going to exhibit or if you're going to be in an event, give people something that they need. I remember a couple of years ago at the ARF conference, in the big ballroom in the Marriott Hotel, Decipher, and I don't think we have anybody from Decipher here today, but Decipher, who provides technology and survey programming for the market research industry. At the very back of the big conference room, there was this little like locker, and you could take your cell phone and you could plug it in and you could lock a little drawer and you could go away for an hour. No one would have taken your cell phone, and it would be charged. To this day, I remember the cipher, and it was something that I needed at that conference. But be really clear about that something you need, because is it really going to deliver ROI? Is it going to be differentiated? Yes, maybe people do need their shoulders rubbed, but is that the way you want them to remember you? And if you're going to advertise, please don't go too far. And I swear to you, one of our colleagues in Germany went to a German market research industry event. I will not show the picture, but a very large market research agency, who shall remain nameless, had actually done something like this. I kid you not, to market their brand at this market research event. I would urge you to think twice, just saying. Okay, the seventh thing is write. But make sure you write well and cultivate those folks within your organization who write well. And write not about your company, but about what your company thinks about, what they stand for, what they think is important, new insights into how consumers actually make decisions. Write and contribute. Green Book, all right, this is a secret, okay? You didn't have to drug me to get it out of me, but Green Book is an amazing partner, because Green Book is always willing to take articles that have been written as long as they stand for something. And you know, Ray Pointer is a frequent contributor. I don't know if any of you have submitted things, but Green Book, other publications that were discussed today, Quirks, find out where there are publications that our respective clients read, write something meaningful, and basically that becomes another way of getting your brand out. It may only say the name of your company in the small type at the bottom, but rest assured your prospective clients, if you've got something meaningful to say, will notice. But avoid blatant self-promotion. You guys all know the self-promoters, you've seen them. These are the folks who go to a conference, theoretically to be blogging about the conference, and they're blogging about themselves. Self-promotion, it may feel like the shortcut way of marketing the brand, but ultimately you get seen through really, really quickly. So avoid self-promotion in the writing that your teams do. If you want some examples of folks who do it well, where is he? That man over there, and you're going to hear from him this afternoon. Jeff not only writes about his own thought leadership, he writes about the industry, but he writes about other folks who could arguably be called his competitors. He will, if you read his blog, you'll find out about the other influential bloggers who have something important to say within the industry. And the Green Book blog is right up there. But Jeff will talk more about this. He's an amazing resource. I found him to be a really generous partner, and I would urge you to pay attention during that session. So we practice the art of content marketing, and with content marketing, what we try to do is make sure that every place that we are using as an outlet or an opportunity to talk about what we believe in sort of points back to something else that we're doing. So I'm not saying we do it better than anyone else, better than any of the people that you've heard from today, but it's the notion of taking all of the social media outlets and really making them work towards exposing the thought leadership of your brand. Someone asked earlier about what's the most important marketing activity. And we said they're all important. It is really challenging to put all this stuff together and constantly be creating new content and engaging with clients in different ways and having that feedback loop so you know what's working and what isn't. It's something as simple as what's more effective, sending out an invitation to a webinar on a Tuesday or a Thursday. It's really important and really difficult to do, but it pays dividends if you attempt to do it well. So the final thing I would have to say to you is to cultivate great partners. And unsolicited, unpaid political announcement for Green Book and for IIES. Those of you who have been in the industry for a long period of time know that there was a period of time where Green Book was thought of as a directory. And now, Green Book is one of the most important industry voices in the world. And I would just say, make sure that you pay attention to what they do, make sure you contribute where you can, and just think of them as great partners, because they certainly have been great partners for us. And ultimately, keep calm and love marketing. I'll take any questions that anybody has. Sure.
What's the best technique to do your blog?
Sorry about that. I have a deep voice.
It's okay, Jason.
What's the best venue to do your blog? Would it be on LinkedIn? Would it be on your own website? Would it be on greenbook.org? Would it be on Quirks, MRA?
Yeah, I mean,
That's not my list.
I'd hate to do the cop-out thing and say yes,
You're doing it all.
Well, we have a blog that is separate from our website. It's called the Brian Juicer blog. Brian Juicer is kind of like our mascot. Funny story as to how that came about, but I'll tell people at lunch. We have our own blog. It's on a WordPress platform. It's a relatively simple thing. It's very inexpensive. It's a software that you can. Well, with blogs, it's really interesting because you put the blog out, and anybody who finds it can either subscribe to the feed or can just go to the blog post to the blog site. But then you've got to drive traffic to the blog. So that's what when I talk about content marketing, you've really got to have this sort of circular thing where you're constantly really driving traffic to the various outlets that will that you use for marketing. So, for example, we've got a concentrated effort that takes Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn and all of our social media and points to all the various things that we use for content.
You do that with the social media, really good with the blog, so that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I mean,
it's really not up on one of those sites. It's really on I'll say that's a blank site in a sense.
Right. I mean, there are if you really don't want to do it yourselves, you can use some of these other outlets. For a period of time, we used opportunities to do webinars on other people's platforms. We would pay to do a webinar, and we just said, you know what, let's do this ourselves. So we have a webinar platform. Again, children do not try this at home. We do our webinars in 3 different time zones so that we can take live questions from all around the world. It means somebody's got to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning. God love him, the young guy who we have who does that, he's probably not going to bed from going out the night before, but but you try. The other thing that I didn't say is experiment, test, fail, rinse, repeat. Try stuff, and then just have a really extraordinarily good feedback loop to tell you what works and what doesn't.
So you're saying that blog that might be on one of those things that I pre-mentioned, like was basically put up on a normal site and then repackaged it.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be really, really careful. I can't emphasize it enough. On a platform like LinkedIn, it's stopped being the exotic household pet of marketing, and it's now something that people are pretty sophisticated about. The minute there's a whiff, a sniff, a hint of some sort of blatant self-promotion as opposed to something that people want, need, and will find informative, people are just going to turn off. You might have to do the hard yards of marketing your own blog, but ultimately you'll see people following you, and it's all additive. There's no one single thing.
More questions?
With all the online channels that we have kind of coming at us from all directions, where does good old-fashioned print advertising fit in these days?
Well, okay, this is strictly a brain juicer perspective. We don't advertise at all, anywhere. And I think that it was somewhat defensive because being in 14 cities globally, we could bankrupt ourselves if we were going to advertise. I don't think we have seen a decline. I don't think we've seen ourselves suffering as a result. That's our own personal perspective. People are reading magazines. I think it's more effective to try really hard to get editorial than it is to get advertising. That's just my own personal perspective. I hope that's helpful.
Hi. I'm loud. Brain Juicer has such a distinctive culture. How do you permeate that culture, and what kind of training do you provide to employees or staff, especially those that are speaking and becoming those brand ambassadors?
Well, where we do spend money is in travel, getting people together. And I just came back from London. We have something we call Juicy Beginnings, which is where we take new starters, we bring them over to London, and we immerse them in who we are and what we do. We buy them some beers too. But, we spend a lot of time figuring out how to get over geography. It's really, really tough. I mean, we can arrange a management call, and everybody but, you know, our lead in Asia, who's based in Shanghai, is reasonably okay with the time frame. But it's really tough when you're global. It's really tough when you're as geographically dispersed as we are, even in the US. So we will have monthly regional meetings where the teams will get together. And, you know, they'll buy pizza. They'll have it in the conference room, and it's webcast across all of the offices. That we have offices in 4 cities in the US. So it's really, 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 really tough. We spend a lot of time acknowledging people. Anybody, we have something called Hidden Heroes, so we'll share across the company something that somebody has done within the company. And it can be somebody in our ops group, it can be our chief operating officer. It's just that way of communicating what we're doing. But it's hard. And we struggle not just with the training of people who come on board, but it's the ongoing training of people as they go through various stages of their career. Again, we spend money on it, and it's hard sometimes, but we'll arrange for people to work in the various offices globally. You know, so there's a term that I never heard before called secondment. I guess if you're UK-based, you've heard the word secondment. What it means is you're taken out of your normal assignment and you're given a temporary assignment someplace else. The guys who arrange for visas are saints, but you know, that's one of the things we try to do.
One more question for Susan.
Just maybe to bring it back to the keynote speech, we've heard a lot about tactics and how to get our brand out there. Can you talk just a little bit, I mean, clearly Brain Juicer has a brand. Could you give me in one or two sentences its USP? I mean, how, if I've never heard of it, what is it in 2 sentences?
Brain Juicer has done a lot to take the learning from the behavioral sciences and apply it to how our clients can understand consumers, how they make decisions. So it's the application of the behavioral science in proprietary research tools so that clients can turn human understanding into business advantage.
Okay, thanks, Susan.